Thank you. Okay, everybody, good afternoon. My name is Chris Nappy. I'm a natural resource officer here in Barnstable. I'll be the hearing officer for this. We're kind of revisiting an old hearing that happened in July. So I'll just go through kind of the, just the outline of the hearing. You guys have been involved in one of these before, so you know the format. All of the communication will go through me, not back and forth across the table. It all comes to me, okay? And then, we'll swear you guys in. We'll get going. So, today's Thursday, September 28th. The time is now 1:35. We're meeting in the Barnstable Town Hall Selectmen's Conference Room for a dog hearing of Tatiana Mendez and Matthew Goodless versus Miss Burbig. They both live on Baxter Road in Hyannis. So there's an issue with the dogs there. So if anybody plans on providing testimony, could you raise your right hand, please? Okay, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you're about to give in this matter is the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, first we'll take testimony from the individuals making the complaint. So, Ms. Mendez, please. Right.
So, since the first meeting we had, from my understanding, the dogs were not supposed to stay outside alone. And
Okay.
for months I was waiting, and since the first meeting, nothing changed. The dogs were always outside, they was jumping on the fence. The dog actually made a hole in the fence.
Okay.
The fence is holding because I made a barrier from my side of the house.
Okay.
But it's really loose, and at some point that will fall through. So since the first meeting, the dogs were not supposed to stay there alone.
Okay. Okay. So really nothing's changed is what you're saying from the...
Changed from
Okay.
the first meeting. Basically.
Okay. We'll just get right to you, Ms. Burbig. What's...
So since the first hearing, the first hearing was pertaining to one dog alone. It was felony. It was
Okay.
not for any of the other dogs involved. It was to deem her dangerous and a nuisance. She was deemed not dangerous.
Can you, just make sure you talk into... There's a microphone
Sorry,
right next
can
to you,
you hear
right?
me now?
Yeah, there's one like right there, yeah.
So she was deemed not dangerous from that, but she was deemed a nuisance, and some orders were put in place that she was allowed to roam freely in the backyard if I was there under direct supervision or another responsible adult was there. If not, and if I was going to be leaving, it was that she was allowed to be tethered. So to say that nothing's changed, that's not true, because I literally bring her inside every time I leave the house now. There's been one time I haven't brought her, and that was upon Cindy's second visit there. Other than that, I am home either in the backyard or in the sunroom, which is directly to the backyard when her and the puppies are outside of the fence. She hasn't been jumping on the fence anymore, and if she does begin to even bark since she was deemed a nuisance, I immediately do bring her inside. And then I did look into under the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 49, Section 4, related to fences, specifically partition fences. It is required that they are maintained by both neighboring parties. So I do understand Tatiana is saying it's loose and she put a barrier on her end, but we do share a partition fence that is required to be maintained by both parties. So if related to that, saying that my dog can't be in the backyard because of the fence, then I feel like it would be, okay, then her dog can't be in the backyard because of the fence. Felony is no longer jumping on the fence. And as I said, if she does begin to bark, which was the whole thing of her being a nuisance, she is brought inside. As for the puppies, there are only 2 of them now. And that wasn't related to anything to the first hearing. The dogs have not dug any more holes. The puppies do not jump on the fence. So I'm personally just upset and fed up at this point too, because I did make the changes. She is inside a lot more now, and she's a very active dog. And then the 3 violations that Cindy has left me, we've had a history of her leaving false violations for me, where she apologized at the beginning of last meeting and stated that she found the correct dog, and she's told me before she hasn't witnessed it with her own eyes. So I am just beginning to kind of feel harassed in this situation too, related to dogs, which is just absurd because I'm dealing with like a lot of real life issues, and not the dogs. So
Okay.
I feel like
Yeah, I have the, one thing, I have the order from the original hearing, and it just says, any dogs on Miss Burbig's property must be confined in an enclosed backyard that has been approved by Barnstable Animal Control. So has Animal Control come out and approved the
No,
backyard?
so that
Okay.
was also the
Is that
other-
it? Is
yeah,
it,
that
have they been given the opportunity to do that? Oh, so you haven't given them the opportunity?
No,
Okay.
well, they can. I've just been getting the violations before anyone says, hey, can I see the backyard? Because I do have, there was one actual hole that the puppies were getting through, and that was boarded up. I have the picture. I don't know if you can use that towards it immediately after the first hearing. So no dogs are able to get through the fence whatsoever. No dogs have been jumping on the fence whatsoever.
Okay.
And I feel like I was just kind of giving violations right off the bat related to the puppies being outside before even saying, okay, can we check out the fence? So,
Okay. Animal Control, yeah, if you guys want to have something to say, we'll get back to you.
So yeah, in regards to the order, which was issued on August 5th, and immediately after that, on August, well, not immediately, okay, on August 31st, I did receive a phone call that Felony was outside and she was jumping on the fence. I did go to the house and Miss Burbig was not home and the dog was jumping on the fence. I did witness that myself on the other side of the fence, and there was holes in the fence, and you know, it was quite rickety at times, and you know, she was jumping on the fence. So that was when I posted a citation there. That was
And what date was that?
on August 31st.
8/31, okay.
And then on September 2nd, that was the second time I went there when Miss Burbig came home. And again, Felony was outside. I saw her, because when you pull into the driveway, when you pull up, the gate in the front doesn't completely close tight, so you can see in the space that it was Felony. She did run to the shed when I got there, but she was clearly outside in the backyard when I got there, as well as the puppies. And then the third time I went on September 9th, you could still see the hole. There are pictures I have with the hole in the fence, and you can see two of the puppies were in the backyard. I don't know whether Felony was, but as you see in the order, none of the dogs are supposed to be outside when she's not home.
Right, any dog, it says any dog must be confined in the backyard that has been approved by Barnstable Animal Control.
Right, and I explained to Ms. Bergbeck again when I came out on the 2nd that until repairs were made to that fence, they could not be out there. And, you know, she stated to me.
Unattended, right.
Unattended, correct. And she stated to me that it was nice out and there was no way she was gonna put them in the house. And I understand she feels like I'm harassing her, but unfortunately, you know, these are the regulations which she made no efforts to appeal.
And you sent a video or something today too?
I received a
So-
video yesterday from Ms. Mendez.
Okay, yeah,
that I
so,
did submit.
yeah, Stone told me that he has a video that you sent up here, so we can just take a look at that, just so it's in public record. Oh, there we go. Gotta make it a little bigger. So this is from Miss Mendez's yard, looking at Miss Burbig's yard, correct? So clearly at the beginning, yeah, the dog's jumping on the fence.
All of those woods, I put it there from the bottom to the top, even the tree to hold the fence in. And behind that brown piece of wood, there's where the hole is.
Okay, yeah, I mean, clearly the dog's jumping on the fence right there, so.
So I don't know which dog that is, but clearly it's happening from Ms. Burbig's side of the fence.
Right.
just want to mention that I have a playpen blocking my dogs for getting close to the fence, so they don't get close to the fence. And I have another video, and numerous video, one for Tuesday when it was my day off, of the dog again jumping on the fence,
Okay.
and some other days. So my whole house is blocked one side with playpen.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you can see that. It's kind of scary. Like, if you don't know what dog it is and you're not that familiar with the dogs, you can understand that when you see, like, a fence rattling with the dog jumping on it, that it could be
I can
scary,
absolutely
right?
understand
Yeah.
that, but per the first hearing, she was deemed not dangerous.
Right, yeah,
She's
so-
not, so we are very aware of the fact she's not doing anything, and I'm home during this when she is allowed to be in the backyard with me being home. So I feel as if moving forward, as the Massachusetts law state for fences, partition fences are supposed to be maintained by both sides.
Well,
So,
I mean, it really depends on where the property is. So usually a fence is placed on one person's property or another.
Correct.
It's wherever.
so my
right.
thing is though, I do have these active dogs that are I bought a house with an enclosed backyard for a reason. So animal control is more than welcome to come over and see that the repairs to these holes have been made. I'm not gonna replace my entire fence because it's not gonna break down and these dogs are not continuously jumping on them and breaking the fences. The pieces that have been broken have been patched up. The dogs, as Tatiana already explained per our first meeting, was from my little black dog when she was a puppy that would dig the holes. Since then, no other holes have been dug along the fence. So it's just like things have been improving, but I'm not going to keep my dogs inside all day long.
Right, okay, yeah.
Can I speak?
Yeah, one other
So,
thing, yeah.
The hole is there right now, if you want to see it. And the other sides of the fence are starting to shake. So it's not just about fixing the fence. Even if you fix that hole that is there right now, the other sides, they are steady right now, is starting to be shake. So the point is the dog jumping on the fence because the parts that are steady right now is starting to get loose. So there's no way, there's no fence that is going to hold too long when there's a dog jumping every time we are in the yard.
Okay.
I do have a picture I would like to submit.
Okay.
That it's not the dogs digging under the fence, it's the hole in the fence itself.
Okay. So, yeah, well,
Yeah, so that, if we're submitting photos, like I said, that was the same hole that has been boarded up
okay.
since.
Yeah, I'll just note
So
that it's a hole in the fence, and then, yeah, Miss Burbig showing a patch in the fence that is blocked off with another piece of wood. Okay.
Right, but again,
Right.
the fence still needs to be approved.
Right, yeah, so that's the thing, is that you just have to coordinate a time where you can meet with animal control,
Yeah.
and they can approve that the fence looks like it's gonna support animals that are kind of in that back space.
Right.
Okay. Anything else from animal control?
Yep, how old are the puppies now?
5 months, not 6, so they don't need their rabies for another month.
5 months.
I did also want to add that to the last meeting, I was told that felony and risky needed to be re-registered, but my town of Barnstable portal shows that their rabies were submitted in November of 22 and they were registered December 22, and states that it needs to be done annually, so I don't think it needs to be re-registered for another month.
Each July 1.
Fiscal year.
Well, it was in December.
No,
Yeah, and then it gets, you
each
have to,
July 1.
yeah, in July, it has to
And
be
Risky's no
redone.
longer on the property either, so we'll make note of that as well.
Okay, risky, not there.
And the other quick, you clearly own the fence?
Who really knows at this point? I don't know. I looked more into fence laws because I tried to say that before, that it was specifically my fence, and the other hearing officer that ran it stated that it's a neighboring fences and that it's both of ours, so it's hard to tell who, I don't know property lines in Barnstable, but I did look more into Massachusetts general laws related to fences and specifically partition fences, which is what we have.
Right,
So-
that's not really something that we could determine in this setting. You would need like a lot survey to show like where
Right,
the
that's
fence is
what
and
I
the property
assumed.
lines.
And that's kind of what I related to back to the like fences as well, because per Massachusetts codes and regulations, my fence is up to par. So I'm just wondering at what point the animal control officers have the training for staying its established fence or not.
Well, they're-
If I'm patching up holes that the dogs can't get through and the fence isn't breaking down, then I feel like that should be approved.
Yeah, I mean, they're professionally trained to inspect kennels and animal enclosures, so I would say that the amount of training that they receive to be able to make those types of inspections would give them the expertise to say whether or not a fence could contain a dog or not, right? Yeah.
The district court has determined in the past that I have met that requirement
Right.
through experience and
Yeah.
keeping the restraint of dogs. So
So while we're here, can I arrange for you to come over to my house right now so that we can get this squared away? Because again, it's a beautiful day out and I'd like my dogs to be able to play outside.
Yeah, so the biggest thing is that they can be outside, but you have to be there with them, right? You have to be out there with them, not just home, you have to be out there.
Yeah,
Right.
I understand that, which is what was kind of frustrating about some of these violations and
But-
her saying that she's jumping along because I am out there. So.
Well, I mean,
I have a video for
yeah,
Tuesday.
I mean, we have a video right here that shows the dog was jumping on the fence, right? So, right.
I understand that.
Yeah, so I mean, if these sort of additional regulations from the original hearing aren't being followed, like you're saying that the dog's not jumping on the fence. Clearly, it's jumping on the fence from the video, and the fence is being damaged. Although you're making an attempt to patch it, and yeah, we understand that it's not easy to replace a whole fence. But in the meantime, you need to just understand that for your neighbors to be able to be outside and enjoy their backyard too. And if it's, if it's scaring them with the dog jumping on the fence like that, it's, it can be concerning if you're there. You don't know what dog it is. Although we said that it's not a dangerous dog, it still can be scary, right?
Correct, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll probably have to place some sort of additional, it just seems to make sense that something additional should be.
yes, we're prepared to make a recommendation
Okay,
that the dogs, any dog on the property, not be permitted outside unless on a leash with a responsible adult,
on a leash.
until such time as the fence is repaired 100%, so that it's not going to keep breaking. As
Okay.
we know, fences over time become deteriorated, especially wood, rot, etc.
And that's
So-
pretty standard, on a leash in the backyard, in the yard, on the property, until the fence is repaired.
Yeah.
I've seen that before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we need another video. If you have one, you said from Tuesday, and it's the similar kind of activity of a,
My point is the dog was not deemed dangerous, but hearing that and see the dog jumping like that, do you think the dog wants to lick my face? How do you think you will feel on the other side?
right.
Even though the dog was not deemed dangerous, it's not barking and jumping on a fence to lick my face.
Right, that's what I'm trying to make the point that I
My point
understand
is
that
the-
it's,
Like, is
The
that-
fence
that's
on the
thing.
other side, on her yard, it's higher, and mine is lower. That's why I put the barrier to hold the bottom of the fence. There's nothing holding on my side. That's why I push a lot of dirt and the piece of wood to hold the bottom of the fence.
okay.
And I don't think I should be the one that needed to fix, even though I tried to block all of the holes in it. Because, like I said, you can go on my house right now, and you can see that I have something blocking the fence from the whole side. There's nothing touching that side because I'm scared about it. And it's kind of like I go outside, my heart's racing. I feel harassed and bullied on my own yard.
Okay. Okay. So,
I would just have to indicate that, under the circumstances, we have not observed the dog off of the property unleashed, any leash violations, and to date, to the best of my knowledge, there's been no report of any bites with any of the dogs that have been on the property.
okay.
And I certainly would agree that it's a nuisance, but it doesn't come up to the point of being dangerous.
Okay.
I think that is just where like I'm at my like wits end with it too, because I do understand like Tatiana's point of view for it, but like the dogs aren't going to hurt you, they're not dangerous, and they are just playing. I have a very active breed of dogs that do like to, before she said that she had her fence, her dogs used to run along the fence with my dogs, like dogs do, and like
That was a
my
different
dogs would
dog.
want to play. So regardless, my dogs are not dangerous, they're not going to hurt anybody, they like to run around and play in the backyard, which is why, again, I bought a house with a fenced-in backyard. I didn't expect it to like turn into this like every week it's something. And like the first hearing we addressed it, I had so many violations that were like closed as unfounded because like none of them were true. I had Cindy try to leave a violation for unleashed dog and barking, and then she apologized and said, "Oh, it wasn't your dog." Like it's like, how's that fair?
Right. So, yeah, I mean, that stuff, I don't know any of the history regarding any of those other sites.
I just asked and tried
Right.
to come by and see it, that the holes are fenced, like
Yeah.
saying that, and then the other thing, before it needs to be tethered but can't reach the fence, the only way I'd be able to tie my dogs is to a tree that's literally right next to said fence. So it's like almost impossible. And in the summertime in the sites, they have a whole shed that I've turned into another like room for them that like they go and play in, which is the opposite side of the yard. No leash is going to permit them to be able to reach that and play without reaching the said fence. That's in question as well. But the whole thing about the fence is that it's like not repaired or there's holes. No, the dogs can't get through it, and the dogs are not going to knock down the fence. So if they can come and approve it, like I said, they've been to the house many times and have had no problem leaving a violation, but have never once said, "Oh, can we check out the fence?" It's stable enough; it's not going to fall down. The fence, as you can see, if you want to say the dog's jumping, and she supposedly has been doing this for months, the fence isn't going to fall down. It's been repaired. Any hole that has been in it is literally patched up, unless we're talking about the holes underneath it, which I have things on my side of the fence also blocking it, so they can't dig under.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, you guys just have to coordinate a time to go over there and look at the fence and make sure it's secure enough. We'll put in the recommendations, Charlie's recommendation that any dog in the backyard needs to be on a leash until the fence is repaired, right? And you guys get a chance to inspect it, I would say probably before and after, so take a look at it now. Maybe give her some direction on exactly what needs to be repaired or what your expectations would be before she puts any additional effort into it, and then take a look at it again afterwards, right? Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it says something, yeah, it's just a recommendation, and then may only be free to roam in the enclosed area of the backyard when under the direct physical supervision. So, yeah, you can't just let them out there. You have to be back there. Obviously, now they have
Or
to,
another responsible adult, it says, correct?
yeah, or other designated responsible adult, yes. Okay, so you have to be out there. You can't go inside. You go inside, the dogs go inside. That's it. And then there's going to be additional recommendations that Charlie put forward that come in another document, okay? Yeah, okay. You guys, is that good?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so the time is now, let's see, 1:57, and we'll close the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.